At Lincoln Heights High School, three mean girls terrorize their classmates daily, targeting anyone they deem beneath them. Their favorite victim? A heavyset sophomore named Sarah Mitchell. But what these ruthless bullies don't realize is that in 6 months' time, their supposedly weak target will transform into something they never expected. A trained fighter whose fists speak louder than their cruel words. The fluorescent lights of Lincoln Heights High School's hallway flicker as Sarah Mitchell, 15, plus-sized but strong-featured, tries to make herself invisible against the lockers. It's an impossible task given her size, but she's learned that sometimes staying still makes them pass by. Not today. Victoria Pierce, 16, head cheerleader, perfectly styled, stops directly in front of Sarah, flanked by her two lieutenants, Madison Cooper, 16, social media queen, and Rachel Winters, 16, athlete, muscular. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. They form a triangle around Sarah, a practiced maneuver they've perfected over countless confrontations. Well, if it isn't the human blockade, Victoria sneers, her designer boots clicking against the linoleum as she circles Sarah. Are you trying to take up the entire hallway again? Sarah clutches her books tighter to her chest, eyes fixed on the floor. The mourning crowd of students parts around them like water around stones, carefully averting their eyes. Nobody wants to be next. Madison pulls out her phone, its bedazzled case catching the light. This is totally going on my story. Day 47. Still can't get to class because someone's gravitational pull is too strong. The click of her camera feels like a physical blow. Sarah's childhood friend Jesse Chen, 15, lanky comic book enthusiast, watches helplessly from his locker, his hand gripping the metal door until his knuckles turn white. Next to him, Olivia Rodriguez, 15, artistic rebel, shakes her head, her purple-streaked hair falling across her face. Just leave her alone, Jesse finally manages, his voice barely carrying across the hall. Rachel's head snaps toward him. Ah, look who's defending his girlfriend, though I guess she's big enough to count as two girlfriends. She high-fives Madison as Victoria continues her slow circle. Victoria leans in close, her expensive perfume overwhelming. You know, Sarah, the cafeteria actually called. They're running out of food since you enrolled. She pauses for effect, watching tears well up in Sarah's eyes. Maybe you should do everyone a favor and just disappear. The first bell rings, its harsh sound providing momentary cover for Sarah's shaky breath. Students begin hurrying to class, the crowd thinning around them. Let's go, Victoria commands her squad. The air's getting a bit too heavy here. As they strut away, Madison's phone still recording, Rachel deliberately bumps Sarah's shoulder, sending her books scattering across the floor. Jesse and Olivia rush to help, but Sarah's already on her knees, gathering her belongings with practiced movements. This isn't the first time. It won't be the last. You can't let them keep doing this, Olivia says, handing Sarah her scattered notebook. You need to tell someone. Sarah shakes her head, stuffing papers back into her folder. Tell who? The teachers? They're all scared of Victoria's dad and his donations. The principal? He plays golf with Madison's mom every weekend. Her voice is flat, resigned. In class, Sarah takes her usual seat at the back, trying to squeeze into a desk that wasn't designed for her body. She can hear Victoria and her crew giggling 2 rows ahead, their phones lighting up with notifications as the morning's video circulates through the school's social circles. Mrs. Peterson, 45, sympathetic but ineffective, begins her English lesson on The Metamorphosis by Kafka. Sarah stares at her notebook, where she's unconsciously drawn dozens of tiny boxes, each one darker and more heavily outlined than the last. The word change appears in the margins, written and rewritten until the ink bleeds through the page. After class, Sarah takes her usual detour to avoid the cafeteria during lunch. She's learned that eating in the library is safer, even though it's against the rules. The elderly librarian, M.S. Winters, no relation to Rachel, pretends not to notice Sarah's contraband sandwich. But today, Victoria's crew has anticipated her route. They're waiting at the intersection of hallways, phones ready. Going somewhere? Victoria asks, her smile sharp as a blade. The gym's that way, you know. Though I guess one person like you counts as a whole team workout. Sarah feels something snap inside her. Maybe it's the hunger, maybe it's the exhaustion, or maybe it's just time. She steps forward, her voice surprisingly steady. Why can't you just leave me alone? Victoria's eyes widen in mock surprise. It speaks. And here we thought you only knew how to eat and cry. She steps closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You want to know why? Because you make it so easy. Because you're nothing. And because I can. The words hit Sarah like physical blows, each one landing exactly where Victoria intends. But for the first time, beneath the pain, Sarah feels something else. Anger. Pure, molten anger that makes her hands shake and her vision blur. She opens her mouth to respond, but before she can, a deep voice cuts through the tension. Is there a problem here? All heads turn to see Mr. Santos, 35, retired MMA fighter turned security guard, standing at the end of the hall, his arms crossed over his chest. Victoria's crew scatters like cockroaches in sunlight, leaving Sarah alone with her uneaten lunch and her burning rage. What no one notices is the way Mr. Santos watches Sarah, sees the way her fists are clenched at her sides, notices the fighter's stance she's unconsciously adopted. He sees something in her that she doesn't yet see in herself. The seeds of change have been planted. They just need the right conditions to grow. Sarah's walk home from school takes twice as long as it should. She zigzags through side streets and cuts through the local park, a routine developed over months to avoid Victoria's crew, who often drive around in Madison's convertible looking for entertainment. The front door of her modest two-story house creaks open, and Sarah's mother, Diana Mitchell, 42, nurse, perpetually exhausted but loving, looks up from a pile of medical bills spread across the kitchen table. Since Sarah's father passed away 2 years ago, Diana has been working double shifts to keep them afloat. You're late again, honey, Diana says, trying to keep the worry from her voice. She notices Sarah's wrinkled clothes and the dirt on her knees from the hallway incident. Did something happen at school? Sarah manages a weak smile. Just dropped my books, Mom, no big deal. She heads for the stairs but pauses when her mother speaks again. Mrs. Peterson called today. Diana's voice is gentle but firm. She's concerned about your grades slipping. This isn't like you, Sarah. Sarah grips the banister, knuckles white. I'll do better, I promise. In her room, Sarah finally lets out the breath she's been holding all day. Her walls are covered with posters of strong women, athletes, scientists, warriors from history. Her eyes linger on a weathered photo of her father teaching her to throw a punch when she was 7. Back then, it was just a game. Her phone buzzes with texts from Jesse and Olivia. Jesse, movie night at my place? Mom made your favorite dumplings. Olivia, please come. We're worried about you. Sarah starts to type, not tonight, her usual response, but hesitates. The house feels suffocating with the weight of her mother's concern and the day's humiliation. 20 minutes later, she's climbing the familiar steps to Jesse's front porch. The Chen family has lived next door since before Sarah was born. Mrs. Chen, 50s literature professor with a warrior's spirit, opens the door before Sarah can knock. Finally, Mrs. Chen pulls her into a warm hug. You're too skinny. Have you been eating? The irony of the statement, given Victoria's taunts, almost makes Sarah laugh. In Jesse's basement-turned-gaming den, Olivia is already sprawled on the worn couch, sketching in her art journal. The page shows a girl transforming into a phoenix, flames consuming her old self. Look who decided to join the land of the living, Olivia teases, but her eyes are kind. Jesse emerges from the kitchen with a plate piled high with dumplings. Mom said to tell you she'll keep making these until you smile for real again. For the first time all day, Sarah feels her shoulders relax. They don't talk about school or Victoria. Instead, they argue about superhero movies, play vintage video games, and let Sarah just exist. During a break between games, Olivia shows Sarah her latest artwork. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. A series of female boxers and MMA fighters in dynamic poses. Did you know that women weren't allowed to box in the Olympics until 2012? Now they're winning medals and breaking records. Sarah studies the drawings, something stirring in her chest. They're beautiful, strong. Like you could be, Olivia says quietly, but Sarah pretends not to hear. Later, Mrs. Chen brings down tea and sits with them as she often does. She's been watching Sarah grow quieter over the months, seeing the light dim in her eyes. You know, Mrs. Chen says, settling into her favorite storytelling voice, in ancient China there was a woman named Wu Mei. She was bullied and underestimated until she created her own style of kung fu. She proved that true strength comes in many forms. Sarah listens, mesmerized despite herself. Mrs. Chen has always had a way of making history feel alive, relevant. What happened to her? Sarah asks. She became a teacher, helping others find their inner warrior. Mrs. Chen's eyes meet Sarah's. Sometimes the strongest people are the ones who had to fight the hardest to find their strength. The evening ends too soon. As Sarah walks the short distance home, she feels the temporary peace of the Chen's basement fading. Tomorrow means facing Victoria again, enduring more taunts, more videos, more humiliation. Her phone pings with a notification. Someone has tagged her in a post. Despite knowing better, Sarah opens it. The hallway video has gone viral within the school's social circle. The comments scroll endlessly. Does she own clothes in any size except tent? My screen can't fit her, lololol. Sarah's finger hovers over the delete account button, but something stops her. Maybe it's Mrs. Chen's story about Wu Mei, or Olivia's drawings of female fighters, or the memory of her father teaching her that first punch. Instead of deleting the app, she screenshots the comments. Evidence. Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow she'll talk to Mr. Santos. The morning sun hasn't yet reached Lincoln Heights High when Sarah arrives early, clutching the folder of screenshots. Her footsteps echo in the empty hallway as she approaches Mr. Santos's office, but voices from inside make her pause. The social media bullying is getting out of control, Mr. Santos argues. We need to take action. These are delicate matters, Principal Harrison responds, his voice tight. Victoria's father just funded our new computer lab. Madison's mother chairs the school board. Unless we have concrete evidence, Sarah's hand tightens on her folder. Before she can knock, Victoria's voice cuts through the morning quiet. Well, if it isn't our favorite whale, beaching herself early today. Sarah turns to find Victoria and her crew blocking both ends of the hallway. Madison's phone is already recording. Actually, Victoria continues, stepping closer. We've been waiting for you. We need to talk about your little visit to Jesse's house yesterday. Sarah's breath catches. They'd been watching. See, I've got my eye on Jesse for the spring formal, Victoria announces, examining her perfectly manicured nails. But having you around? That's bad for his social prospects, really bad. Jesse's my friend, Sarah manages, her voice stronger than she feels. Victoria's smile turns predatory. Here's the deal. You've got 2 weeks to completely disappear from his life. No more movie nights, no more pity dumplings, you ghost him or... She pulls out her phone, showing Sarah a video that makes her blood run cold. It's footage of Sarah's father, taken a week before his accident. He's teaching her to throw punches in their backyard, both of them laughing. A private moment Sarah thought was lost forever. Daddy's little boxer, Victoria mocks. Wouldn't it be sad if everyone saw how pathetic you looked? Or maybe we should show it to your mom? Remind her of what she lost? Sarah lunges for the phone, but Rachel steps between them, shoving Sarah hard against the lockers. The folder falls, screenshots scattering across the floor. Victoria picks one up, her eyes narrowing as she realizes what they are. Oh, keeping receipts, are we? How cute. She starts tearing them up, letting the pieces fall like toxic snow. Let me make this very clear. You stay away from Jesse or this video goes viral, and trust me, we can make it hurt. Mr. Santos's door opens. But Victoria's crew moves with practiced efficiency. By the time he steps into the hallway, they're gone, leaving only torn papers and Sarah's shaking form. "Everything okay here?" he asks, though his expression says he knows it isn't. Sarah nods mechanically, gathering the torn screenshots. Her father's voice echoes in her head. "Sometimes the hardest hits are the ones you don't see coming, kiddo." The day unfolds like a slow-motion nightmare. In class, Jessie tries to talk to her, but Sarah turns away, each ignored attempt feeling like a knife in her chest. During lunch, she hides in the bathroom, watching her phone as Victoria posts carefully edited clips from the morning's confrontation, making it look like Sarah was the aggressor. Victoria's post. "Some people just can't handle being told the truth. Toxic friendship Pjuster, bad influence." The comments pour in. "OMG, did you see her try to attack Victoria?" Psycho wail on the loose. "Jessie deserves better friends." After school, Sarah waits until the parking lot empties before leaving, but Victoria's crew is ready, surrounding her near the football field. "Day 1, and you're already failing," Victoria sighs. "Maybe we need to give you some motivation." She nods to Rachel, who grabs Sarah's backpack, dumping its contents onto the wet grass. "Stop," Sarah pleads, watching as Madison starts recording again. "Oh, now she speaks," Victoria laughs. "What happened to all that energy from this morning? Come on, show us your boxing moves." Sarah stands frozen as they circle her, their taunts mixing with the memory of her father's voice. "Never let them see you're hurt, baby girl. That's when they win." "Look what I found," Rachel announces, holding up Sarah's father's worn leather wallet, his last gift to her. Designer knockoff? How tragic. Something shifts in Sarah's vision. The world narrows to that wallet, to her father's initials worn smooth by years of use. "Give it back." Sarah's voice is different, low and dangerous. "Or what?" Rachel dangles the wallet. "You'll sit on us?" Sarah moves without thinking, muscle memory from years of play fighting with her dad taking over. Her fist connects with Rachel's jaw, not hard but enough to shock everyone into silence. Rachel stumbles back, the wallet falling to the ground. For a moment, no one moves. Then Victoria smiles, and it's the most terrifying thing Sarah's ever seen. "Oh, this is perfect. Madison, tell me you got that?" Madison nods, her phone still recording. "Every second." "Assaulting a student athlete," Victoria muses. "That's grounds for expulsion, isn't it? And with your grades slipping? Well, good luck explaining that to your poor, hard-working mother." Sarah's moment of triumph crumbles as reality sets in. She's given them exactly what they wanted, proof that she's everything they say she is. 2 weeks, Victoria reminds her, leading her crew away. "Stay away from Jessie, or everyone sees everything. And trust me, there won't be a school in the district that'll take you after we're done." Sarah sinks to her knees in the wet grass, clutching her father's wallet. She doesn't notice the figure watching from the gym doors, Mr. Santos, his expression grim but thoughtful. The sun sets behind the football field as Sarah finally stands, her uniform grass-stained and muddy. Something has changed. The girl who walks home that evening isn't the same one who arrived that morning. She needs help, but not from the school, not from her mother. She needs someone who understands what it means to fight back. The next morning, Sarah arrives at school wearing her father's oversized hoodie like armor. Her knuckles are red from spending half the night punching her pillow, replaying yesterday's confrontation in her mind. The hallways buzz with whispers and pointed fingers. Madison's edited video of the attack has made its rounds, carefully cut to show only Sarah's punch, not the provocation. "Did you hear? She just went crazy." Total psycho. Poor Rachel. Sarah keeps her head down, but a commanding voice cuts through the chatter. "Clear the hall. Now." Carmen, the Hurricane. Ramirez, 35, former women's boxing champion, now owns a local gym, stands in the corridor, her presence parting the crowd like Moses with the Red Sea. Even Victoria's crew, approaching for their morning harassment, stops short. Sarah has seen Carmen before. Her picture hangs in the school's trophy case from when she won state championships 20 years ago. She's a legend in Lincoln Heights, known for both her boxing career and for helping troubled kids find their way. Carmen's eyes lock onto Victoria's group, then shift to Sarah. There's recognition there and something else, assessment. Victoria recovers first, plastering on her sweetest smile. Ms. Ramirez, are you here for the athletic department meeting? My father mentioned. Not today, Miss Pierce. Carmen's voice is silk over steel. She turns to Sarah. You, walk with me. It's not a request. Sarah follows Carmen to the empty gymnasium, aware of the shocked silence they leave in their wake. Even Victoria doesn't dare interfere. Inside the gym, Carmen takes a seat on the bleachers, gesturing for Sarah to join her. Santos told me about yesterday. Sarah's stomach drops. Am I in trouble? Depends. Carmen studies her. That punch, where'd you learn it? My dad, he used to. Sarah's voice catches. Thomas Mitchell. Carmen nods. I remember him. He trained at my gym back in the day before. She lets the sentence hang. He had good form. Sarah stares at her hands. You knew my dad? Knew of him. He wasn't a competitive boxer, but he came to learn self-defense after breaking up a robbery at his store. Said he needed to protect his family. Carmen's eyes soften. He'd be proud, you know, standing up for yourself. I shouldn't have hit her, Sarah mumbles. No, you shouldn't have. Carmen agrees. Not like that, anyway. Untrained strikes can hurt you more than your opponent. Sarah looks up, surprised by the response. Listen carefully, Carmen continues. Victoria Pierce and her friends, they're not just bullies. They're predators. They've been watching you, learning your patterns, isolating you. That video they're holding over you, that's their power play. How did you? Word travels fast in small towns, especially when Santos and I keep tabs on kids like Victoria. Carmen's expression darkens. 3 years ago, a girl named Maya left school because of them. Last year, it was twins in the freshman class. Victoria's father's money makes the school look the other way, and her crew gets bolder each time. Sarah absorbs this information, anger mixing with fear. What am I supposed to do? They'll ruin everything if I don't stay away from Jesse. Maybe. Carmen stands, stretching her shoulders. Or maybe it's time someone taught them that not everyone breaks. She walks to a punching bag hanging in the corner, running her hand over its worn surface. You know what makes a good boxer, Sarah? It's not the punches they throw. It's how they handle getting hit. How they keep their feet when the world's trying to knock them down. Sarah watches as Carmen demonstrates a perfect stance, her movements fluid and powerful despite years out of the ring. Your father knew that. He came to my gym because he understood something important. Sometimes the best defense is learning how to fight back properly. The first bell rings, signaling 5 minutes until class. Carmen turns back to Sarah, her expression serious. I can't stop Victoria's crew. Not directly, but my gym's open every day after school. No contracts, no pressure, just a safe space and some people who understand what it's like to need one. She hands Sarah a card. Think about it. As Sarah heads to class, she feels Victoria's crew watching her, but their usual morning ambush doesn't come. Carmen's presence has bought her a temporary reprieve. In English, while Mrs. Peterson discusses The Count of Monte Cristo and its themes of revenge, Sarah turns Carmen's card over in her hands. The text is simple. Hurricane Jim. Weather the storm. Find your strength. Boxing. Self-defense. Community below the address. Carmen has written a note. Your father's legacy isn't in that video. It's in what you choose to do next. Sarah's phone buzzes with a text from Victoria. TikTok. Days left. Stay away from Jesse, or Daddy's video goes viral. No ancient boxing has been can protect you forever. But for the first time since the threats began, Sarah feels something besides fear. Carmen's words echo in her mind. Not everyone breaks. She looks at her reflection in the classroom window, her father's hoodie, her mother's determined chin, and something new in her eyes, something that looks a lot like hope. The question isn't whether she'll go to Hurricane Gym anymore. The question is how soon. 3 days have passed since Carmen's offer, and Sarah has kept the gym card hidden in her father's wallet, unable to commit. She's been avoiding Jesse as ordered, each ignored text feeling like a betrayal. The silence between them in class is deafening. During lunch, Sarah retreats to her new hiding spot behind the school's maintenance building. But today something's different. She hears crying. Following the sound, she finds Olivia curled up against the wall, her purple hair hiding her face. Her sketchbook lies torn beside her, pages scattered and deliberately stepped on. Liv? Sarah approaches carefully. What happened? Olivia looks up, mascara streaked down her cheeks. Victoria's crew. They found out I was drawing you as warriors. She gestures to the ruined sketches. Said I was encouraging your violent tendencies. Sarah picks up a muddy page. It shows her transformed into a powerful boxer, standing tall against shadowy figures. The artistry is beautiful, even in its destroyed state. They said they'd post about my mom's rehab stint if I didn't stop hanging out with you. Olivia's voice cracks. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I can't. My mom's trying so hard to get her teaching license back. If they expose her. Sarah helps Olivia gather the torn artwork, her hands shaking with rage. But it's not over. Found them! Madison's voice rings out. Victoria and Rachel appear from around the corner, phones ready. Ah, look at this touching scene, Victoria coos. The whale and the wannabe artist. How perfect. Leave her alone, Sarah stands, pushing Olivia behind her. Your problem's with me. Actually, Victoria steps closer. My problem is with anyone who doesn't understand their place in the natural order. And you two? She gestures dismissively. Bottom feeders. Rachel grabs Olivia's sketchbook. What should we do with the rest of this art? I'm thinking bonfire, Madison suggests, already clicking her lighter. Something in Sarah snaps. Give it back. Or what? Victoria challenges. You'll punch someone again? Go ahead. The whole school's watching now. Sarah realizes Victoria's right. Students have gathered at the windows, phones recording. This was a setup. That's what I thought. Victoria smirks. Now, about these drawings. She takes the sketchbook from Rachel. So many pages of Sarah the warrior, Sarah the fighter, Sarah the something she'll never be. She rips out pages one by one, letting them fall into a puddle. Let's make this clear. You're not a warrior. You're not a fighter. You're nothing but a sad, fat girl who got her daddy killed because he was teaching her to box instead of watching the road that night. The world stops. Sarah's ears ring with white noise. Her vision tunnels. Through it all, Victoria's voice continues, each word a dagger. Oh, did you think we wouldn't find out? Daddy's little boxing lesson made him late for work, made him rush, made him crash. Victoria's smile is pure venom. Everything you touch turns toxic, Sarah. Jesse, Olivia, your own father. When are you going to learn to just disappear? Sarah's legs give out. She collapses beside Olivia's ruined artwork, her father's last moments playing in her mind. The boxing lesson, his hurried goodbye, the police at their door. Victoria keeps twisting the knife. Maybe if you'd been a normal kid, he'd still be alive. But no, you had to be different, had to be special, had to learn to fight. Through her tears, Sarah sees Mr. Santos and Carmen rushing across the yard, but it's too late. The damage is done. Victoria leans down, whispering so only Sarah can hear. The video goes live tomorrow. Consider this your warning shot. Stay away from everyone, or I'll make sure the whole world knows exactly what kind of daughter gets their father killed. By the time the teachers arrive, Victoria's crew has vanished, leaving Sarah broken on the ground, surrounded by torn drawings of the warrior she'll never be. Or so they think. Later that night, Sarah sits in her dark room, Carmen's card in one hand, her father's wallet in the other. On her phone, Jesse's latest text glows. Whatever they're holding over you, we can fight it together. Please don't shut us out. She opens her laptop, typing with trembling fingers. Dad boxing accident news article. The search results confirm Victoria's cruel words. Her father had been rushing to work after spending the morning teaching her basic self-defense. The guilt she's carried for 2 years crystallizes into something harder, colder. Sarah stands, walks to her mirror, and really looks at herself. She sees what Victoria sees, the fear, the shame, the girl who spent 2 years drowning in grief and guilt. But beneath that, in the set of her jaw and the steel in her eyes, she sees something else. Something that looks like her father's determination, her mother's resilience. She pulls out Carmen's card, dials the number. Hurricane Jim, Carmen answers. You said my father's legacy isn't in that video. Sarah's voice is steady for the first time in days. It's in what I choose to do next. A pause, then, yes. I choose to fight. Sarah takes a deep breath. Not just for me, for Olivia, for Jesse, for everyone they've hurt. Training starts at 5 a.m., Carmen responds. Don't be late. Sarah hangs up, looking one last time at her reflection. Tomorrow, Victoria releases the video, thinking it will break her. Instead, it will be the thing that sets her free. The sun hasn't risen when Sarah reaches Hurricane Jim, her breath visible in the cold morning air. The building is dark except for one window, where a single light burns. She checks her phone. 4:55 a.m. The door is locked. Sarah hesitates, then knocks. No answer. Perfect, she mutters, pulling her father's hoodie tighter. Victoria's video dropped an hour ago, already gathering hundreds of views. The comments are exactly what she expected. OMG, her dad died teaching her this. No wonder she's so messed up. Like father, like daughter. Both losers. A car screeches around the corner. Madison's convertible. Sarah's heart stops as Victoria and her crew emerge, their faces illuminated by phone screens. Trying to bulk up before school? Victoria taunts. Too late for that. Sarah backs toward the gym door. Leave me alone. Or what? Rachel advances. You'll cry to Carmen? Newsflash, she's not here. No one is. Madison's phone light catches Sarah's face. Wait, are those tears? This is gold. She starts recording. Sarah feels the door handle pressing into her back, still locked. You know, Victoria steps closer. My father always says the best time to crush something is when it's already breaking. And you, Sarah? Her smile is cruel in the dim light. You're already broken. Rachel grabs Sarah's backpack, throwing it into a puddle. Oops. Better get that before your daddy's wallet gets wet again. Something shifts in Sarah's chest. Not fear this time, not even anger. Something calmer, colder. I said, Sarah's voice is steady, leave me alone. Victoria laughs. Or what? You'll punch someone again? Please do, my father's lawyer would love that. No, a new voice cuts through the darkness. But I might. Carmen steps out of the shadows, her gym keys jingling. Behind her, Mr. Santos emerges from his parked car, phone raised. Quite a show you're putting on, Carmen continues. 3-on-1 ambush at 5 a.m.? That's not just bullying anymore. That's criminal harassment. Victoria's confidence wavers. We were just... Save it. Mr. Santos's phone keeps recording. I've got everything, including Rachel's assault with the backpack. My father, Victoria starts, isn't here. Carmen cuts her off. But the police I just called are on their way. Want to explain to them why you're harassing someone outside my property before school hours? The sound of distant sirens makes Victoria's crew scatter. But before leaving, Victoria turns to Sarah one last time. This isn't over. You're right, Sarah responds, surprised by her own calm. It's just beginning. After they're gone, Carmen unlocks the gym door. You're early. You knew they'd follow me. Carmen nods. First rule of fighting, know your opponent's patterns. Victoria's crew? They're predictable. All bullies are. Inside, the gym smells of leather and determination. Old fight posters line the walls, including one of Carmen in her prime, fist raised in victory. Santos and I have been building a case, Carmen explains, leading Sarah to a locker room. Your video? Just their latest mistake. But we needed them to cross a line where even Victoria's father can't buy their way out. So I was bait? No. Carmen's expression softens. You were the catalyst. We've watched you, Sarah. The way you protect others even when you're hurting. The way you keep getting up. That's not just survival. That's a fighter's spirit. She opens a locker, pulling out new hand wraps and gloves. Your father had it too. That's why he came here. Not just to learn to fight, but to build something stronger than fear. Sarah touches the equipment, her fingers trembling. I got him killed. No. Carmen's voice is firm. Life is what happened. But what you do with that life, that's your choice. She leads Sarah to a heavy bag in the corner. Victoria released that video thinking it would destroy you. Instead, it brought you here, where you were always meant to be. Sarah looks around the empty gym, imagining it full of other fighters, other survivors. The real question, Carmen continues, helping Sarah wrap her hands, is what are you fighting for? Revenge? Sarah thinks of Jesse's ignored texts, Olivia's torn artwork, all the others Victoria's crew has hurt. No, she answers. I'm fighting for change. Carmen smiles. Good answer. Now show me what you've got. Sarah faces the heavy bag, muscles tense with memory and possibility. Behind her, Carmen's voice is steady. Remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. Every hit makes you stronger. Every fall teaches you to rise. Now, ... Sarah throws her first real punch, feeling the impact ripple through her arm. Again, Carmen commands. Outside, the sun begins to rise over Lincoln Heights. Inside Hurricane Gym, something else rises too. A warrior. Sarah's muscles scream as she completes her 100th push-up. Sweat drips onto the gym mat, forming small dark circles. Carmen watches, clipboard in hand, assessing every movement. Time, Carmen calls. Hit the showers. Then we need to talk. In the locker room, Sarah catches her reflection, hair plastered to her forehead, face flushed from exertion. But there's something different in her eyes now. Purpose. When she emerges, Carmen is waiting with Mr. Santos. On the desk between them lies a formal-looking document. What's this? Sarah asks, still toweling her hair. Police report, Mr. Santos explains. Security footage from this morning. Witness statements from other students Victoria's crew has targeted, including Maya. The girl who left school? Carmen nods. She's willing to testify. But Sarah... She pauses, choosing her words carefully. This is bigger than just training you to fight. We're building a case that could finally stop Victoria's crew. Permanently. But we need your mother's consent, Mr. Santos adds, both for the legal proceedings and the training. Sarah's stomach drops. She doesn't know I'm here. We know, Carmen says gently. You've been saying you're at morning study group, but if we're doing this, really doing this, we need to do it right. Sarah slumps into a chair. She'll never agree. After Dad... After your father, Carmen interrupts. She'll understand better than anyone why this matters. The drive home feels endless. Sarah clutches a folder containing the police report, Carmen's training proposal, and something else. The original security footage showing Victoria's crew's systematic bullying over the past year. Diana is waiting at the kitchen table when Sarah walks in. Her nurse's scrubs are wrinkled from a double shift, dark circles under her eyes. Mrs. Peterson called again, Diana starts, then notices Carmen and Mr. Santos behind Sarah. What's going on? Over the next hour, they explain everything. The bullying, Victoria's crew, the video, the morning's ambush. With each revelation, Diana's face grows paler, her hands gripping her coffee mug tighter. Why didn't you tell me? she finally asks Sarah, voice breaking. Because, Sarah's eyes fill with tears. I thought it was my fault. Dad was teaching me to fight that day, and if he hadn't... Stop. Diana stands abruptly, crossing to a drawer. She pulls out a worn envelope. I've been waiting for the right time to give you this. Inside is a letter in her father's handwriting, dated the day before his accident. My dearest Sarah, tomorrow we start your real training. Not just punches and blocks, but something more important. Learning to stand tall in a world that wants you to stay small. Your mother thinks I'm crazy, teaching our little girl to fight. But I see your strength, even if you don't yet. Remember, fighting isn't about hurting others. It's about protecting yourself and those who can't protect themselves. That's why I started boxing at Carmen's gym years ago. That's the legacy I want to pass on. Whatever happens, know that I'm proud of you. Not for how hard you can hit, but for how deeply you care. Love, Dad. The kitchen falls silent except for Sarah's quiet sobs. Diana wraps her arms around her daughter. Your father, she says softly, would be so proud of you right now. Not for throwing punches, but for standing up, for fighting back the right way. She turns to Carmen. The training, it's not just boxing? No, Carmen confirms. It's discipline, confidence, community. We have a whole program for teens dealing with bullying. Sarah won't be alone. And the legal case? Mr. Santos steps forward. With your consent, we can finally hold Victoria's crew accountable. No more paying their way out of consequences. Diana studies the documents, her nurse's eye catching every detail. Finally, she looks at Sarah. Is this what you want? Really want? Sarah stands straighter, channeling the strength she felt in the gym. Yes, not for revenge, for change. Diana signs the papers. But, she adds, I have conditions. Your grades can't slip. You keep me updated on everything. And... She manages a small smile. I want to learn too. What? Sarah blinks. If my daughter's becoming a boxer, I should at least know the basics. Besides, Diana's smile turns wistful. Your father always said I had a mean right hook. Carmen grins. Like mother, like daughter. First lessons tomorrow at 5 a.m. Both of you. As they leave, Mr. Santos hands Sarah one more document, her new training schedule. Remember, he says, this isn't just about you anymore. You're fighting for every kid who's ever felt powerless. Think you can handle that? Sarah looks at her mother, still holding her father's letter. At Carmen, who sees her potential. At the schedule that will change her life. I can handle anything, she answers, and for the first time, she truly believes it. That night, Sarah texts Jesse. I need to show you something. Meet me at Hurricane Gym tomorrow after school. His reply is immediate. Finally, I knew you'd find your way back. Sarah sleeps with her father's letter under her pillow, his words echoing in her dreams. Learning to stand tall in a world that wants you to stay small. Tomorrow, she starts standing tall. Hurricane Gym comes alive at 5 a.m. with the rhythmic sound of jump ropes hitting the floor. Sarah struggles to keep pace, her coordination still raw, while her mother surprisingly finds her rhythm quickly. Nurses, Diana explains between breaths. We're good on our feet. Carmen moves between them, adjusting their form. Light steps, Sarah. You're fighting gravity, not the floor. She pauses, watching Sarah's frustrated attempts. What do you see in the mirror? Sarah glances at her reflection, rope tangling around her feet again. Someone who can't jump rope? No. Carmen stands behind her. Look closer. What's stopping you? Sarah watches herself, the tension in her shoulders, the way she braces for failure before each jump. I'm afraid of messing up. Bingo. Carmen takes the rope. Boxing isn't just about throwing punches. It's about movement, flow. You're still carrying Victoria's weight in every step. At the mention of Victoria's name, Sarah stiffens. The video has gained thousands of views overnight, each notification a fresh wound. Hey. Diana stops jumping, moving to her daughter's side. Remember what Dad always said about fear? Sarah nods. Fear is just excitement without breath. Exactly. Carmen hands the rope back. So breathe, move. Let your body remember what it was like before the fear. Sarah closes her eyes, recalls weekend mornings with her father, dancing in the kitchen while making pancakes. The rope begins to turn, finding its rhythm with her memories. The morning progresses into basic combinations: jab, cross, hook. Each punch accompanied by Carmen's steady instructions and Diana's quiet encouragement. Better, Carmen notes, watching Sarah work the heavy bag. But you're still hitting angry. Channel it. Control it. Like this? Diana demonstrates a perfect jab, surprising everyone, including herself. Well, Carmen grins. Looks like fighting runs in the family. The gym door opens, and Jessie enters with Olivia. Sarah freezes mid-punch. You said to meet you here, Jessie reminds her softly. Carmen nods to Diana. Let's give them a minute. Once they're alone, Sarah faces her friends. I'm sorry I pushed you away. Victoria, she had that video of Dad. She threatened to… We know, Olivia interrupts. The whole school knows now. But Sarah? She pulls out her sketchbook, a new one. They didn't break me, and they haven't broken you. Jessie steps forward. We want to train too. What? Not boxing, he clarifies quickly. But Carmen says the gym needs help. Social media, website design, marketing, making it a real community center for kids dealing with bullies. Olivia opens her sketchbook, revealing designs for a new gym logo, a hurricane formed from interlinked hands. We fight together. Different ways. Same battle. Sarah's eyes fill with tears, but Carmen's voice rings out. No crying in my gym. Back to work. The rest of the morning becomes a blur of combinations, footwork, and sweat. Carmen works them harder than before now that Sarah has her support system in place. Fighting stance, Carmen commands. Show me your guard. Sarah raises her fists, remembering her father's lessons. High guard, chin tucked, elbows in. Your defense is your foundation, Carmen explained, circling her. Victoria's crew? They're looking for weakness, waiting for you to drop your guard. She demonstrates a combination on the pads, each movement precise. But here's what they don't understand. True strength isn't in the punch. It's in getting back up, Sarah finishes, throwing her own combination. Good. Carmen nods. Now let's talk strategy. Victoria's got reach, but she's never been challenged. Rachel's aggressive, but sloppy. Madison ... Doesn't fight her own battles, Jessie adds from his spot by the computers. Exactly. Carmen helps Sarah adjust her stance. They're bullies, not fighters. They've never had to work for anything, never had to earn their strength. Diana watches from the corner, recognition dawning in her eyes. This isn't just about boxing, it's about reclaiming power. As the session ends, Carmen gathers them all. Tomorrow we start for real. No more basics, no more testing the waters. She looks at Sarah. You ready for that? Sarah glances at her mother, still in workout clothes, at Jessie and Olivia working on gym improvements, at her own wrapped hands. I'm ready. Good. Carmen tosses her a gym key. Because Victoria's crew? They're just the beginning. This gym? It's about to become something bigger, a place for every kid who's ever felt powerless. She points to Olivia's hurricane logo. See that? That's your legacy now, all of you, building something stronger than fear. Sarah catches her reflection again. This time, she doesn't see a victim. She sees a fighter in training, a leader in the making. Her phone buzzes, another notification about Victoria's video. But this time, Sarah doesn't flinch. Let them watch. Let them see. Change is coming to Lincoln Heights, one punch at a time. 1 week into training, Sarah sits in Carmen's office with Mr. Santos, watching footage of Victoria's crew harassing another student. The police investigation is building, but slowly. They're getting desperate, Mr. Santos observes. Your training video leaked. Sarah nods. Someone had filmed her morning workout through the gym windows, and now the school's buzzing with speculation. Victoria's crew has been unusually quiet, which makes everyone nervous. They're planning something, Carmen says, pausing the footage. We need to control the timeline. Force them to play by our rules. How? Sarah asks, rubbing her sore knuckles. Carmen leans forward. The Spring Athletic Showcase. 3 months from now. Victoria's father always uses it to promote the school's sports programs. And his daughter's leadership, Mr. Santos adds with air quotes. Exactly. Carmen pulls out a poster. This year they're adding exhibition matches, including ... She smiles. Female boxing. Sarah's heart races. You want me to fight at the showcase? Better. Carmen's eyes gleam. I want you to challenge Victoria publicly. Give her no choice but to accept. She'll never agree to box me. She will, Mr. Santos interjects, because we'll make it about more than boxing. He pulls up Victoria's social media profile. See these charity posts? All fake. Performance. Her father's PR team manufacturing the perfect daughter image. Carmen nods. We offer a deal. A legitimate charity match. All proceeds go to anti-bullying programs. Victoria either accepts and faces you fairly or... She exposes herself as a fraud, Sarah finishes, understanding dawning. But, Carmen's tone turned serious. That gives us exactly 12 weeks to get you ready. No shortcuts. No excuses. You'll need to train harder than ever. And school? Your grades have actually improved, Mr. Santos notes. Something about punching bags helps with AP physics, apparently. Sarah thinks about the timeline. 12 weeks feels both eternally long and terrifyingly short. There's more, Carmen continues. Jessie and Olivia's social media campaign for the gym launches next week. We're telling your story, the real story, about building strength, finding community, standing up to bullies the right way. She hands Sarah a phone showing their draft campaign, photos of diverse students training together, sharing stories of overcoming bullying. The Hurricane Gym logo, Olivia's interlinked hands, becoming a symbol of resistance and unity. Victoria's crew weaponized your father's video, Mr. Santos says gently. Time to reclaim that narrative. Sarah's phone buzzes. Victoria, right on cue. Nice workout video, Whale. Getting ready for the circus? She'll come after me harder now, Sarah realizes. Count on it. Carmen stands, leading them to the gym floor. Which is why we're changing up your training. No more basics. Time for the real work. The next hour is intense. Carmen puts Sarah through drills she's never seen before, combining boxing with agility training. Diana joins after her shift, now a regular presence at the gym. The showcase, Carmen explains between rounds, isn't just about throwing punches. It's psychological warfare. Victoria needs to see you getting stronger. Let it get in her head. But, she adds, catching Sarah's fist mid-combination, we do this clean. No cheap shots, no fighting dirty. You beat her with skill, not anger. When do we make the challenge? Sarah asks, breathing hard. Next week. School assembly. Principal Harrison can't shut it down without looking bad. Not with the anti-bullying angle. Victoria can't refuse without damaging her image. Sarah nods, then hesitates. What about the legal case? Builds in parallel, Mr. Santos answers. The showcase is just one part of the strategy. While everyone's watching that, we keep gathering evidence. Stories, testimonies. Think of it like a combination, Carmen demonstrates. Jab, the social media campaign. Cross, the public challenge. Hook, the legal case building behind the scenes. Later, Sarah watches Jessie and Olivia work on the campaign videos. They're interviewing Maya, the girl who left school, her voice strong as she shares her story of survival. This is bigger than Victoria now, Jessie says, editing footage. It's about changing the whole system. Sarah's phone buzzes again. A group chat from Victoria's crew. Better watch your back. Training won't save you. Some things never change. But they're wrong. Everything's already changing. Sarah opens her father's letter, now laminated and kept in her gym bag. His words about standing tall, about fighting for others, take on new meaning. Carmen watches her from the office doorway. You ready for this? Once we start? No turning back, Sarah finishes. She thinks about Maya's courage, about Jesse and Olivia's dedication, about her mother's newfound strength. I'm ready. Carmen tosses her the gym keys. Early session tomorrow, 5 a.m. The showcase, Sarah calls as Carmen turns to leave. What if I'm not good enough? Carmen pauses. This isn't about being good enough. It's about being brave enough. She smiles. And kid, you're already braver than you know. Sarah faces the heavy bag, her reflection clear in the gym's mirrors. In 12 weeks, she'll face Victoria in front of the whole school. But right now, in this moment, she's already fighting something bigger. The voice that ever made her believe she couldn't. 6 weeks before the showcase, Sarah hits a wall. Her body aches from doubled training sessions, her mind exhausted from balancing school, workouts, and Victoria's escalating mind games. The morning session feels off from the start. Her punches lack power, her footwork sloppy. When Carmen calls for speed drills, Sarah keeps dropping her guard. Again, Carmen demands after another missed combination. Sarah throws a weak jab, her frustration mounting. The punch goes wide, leaving her open. Carmen taps her ribs with the training pad. That's a knockout in a real fight. What's going on? I'm fine, Sarah mutters, but her next combination is even worse. No. Carmen removes the pads. You're not fine. Talk to me. Sarah slumps against the ropes, sweat or tears, maybe both, running down her face. I saw Victoria sparring yesterday. Where? Online. Someone posted a video. Sarah pulls out her phone, showing Carmen footage of Victoria training at an exclusive boxing club. Her form is perfect, her combinations lightning fast. She's been boxing this whole time, Sarah's voice cracks. All those hours I spent learning basics? She was already ahead of me. I'm going to embarrass myself at the showcase. Carmen studies the video. Nice facility, expensive trainers, perfect technique. She hands the phone back. And none of it matters. How can you say that? Look at her. I am looking. You know what I see? Carmen points to the ring. Get in. I'll show you. They climb through the ropes, Carmen now wearing the pads. Throw your worst punch. What? Your worst. Most technically awful punch you can manage. Confused, Sarah throws an intentionally sloppy jab. Again. Worse. She throws another, even sloppier. Keep going. I want to see the worst boxing in history. Sarah continues, feeling ridiculous, until she's practically flailing. To her surprise, she starts laughing. There it is. Carmen catches her hands. That's what Victoria doesn't have, joy, heart. She's learning boxing like it's another prep school subject. You're learning it like survival. But the showcase isn't about perfect technique. It's about heart, about getting up when life knocks you down. Carmen removes the pads. Victoria's never been knocked down, never had to fight for anything. But you? Every day you walk into this gym is a victory. The door opens as Diana arrives for her session, followed by Jesse and Olivia with their camera equipment. Show them, Carmen commands. Show them your worst punch. Sarah hesitates, then throws the ridiculous flail again. Jesse snorts. Olivia nearly drops her camera laughing. Now, Carmen grins. Show them your best. Sarah sets her feet, remembering every early morning, every bruise, every tear. The combination flows naturally. Jab, cross, hook, power born from pain. That's the difference, Carmen explains. Victoria learned to box. You learned to fight. The campaign videos are trending, Jesse adds, showing his laptop. People are sharing their own stories. Hurricane Strong is everywhere. Olivia pulls up the gym's new website. Look at the membership requests. Dozens of kids wanting to learn. Not just boxing. They want what you're building here. Sarah watches the growing community through fresh eyes. Kids like Maya finding their voice, parents learning alongside their children. A movement bigger than one fight. But her doubt surfaces again. What if I freeze? What if I can't? Then you get up, Diana interrupts, climbing into the ring. Like I did after your father died. Like you did after every time they knocked you down. She raises her fists in a fighting stance. Now, show your mother what all these early mornings have been for. They spend the next hour trading light combinations. Diana's nurse's precision matching Sarah's growing power. The gym fills with the sound of gloves on pads, of encouragement, of family. Victoria's video, Carmen says later, watching Sarah hit the speed bag with renewed focus, was meant to break you. Instead, it brought you here, to people who see your worth, who fight alongside you. Sarah nods, maintaining her rhythm. I've been focusing on the wrong thing, haven't I? Trying to be a better boxer than Victoria. When you should be focusing on being a stronger you, Carmen finishes. The showcase isn't about beating Victoria. It's about showing others they can stand up too. Jesse calls from his computer. Sarah, you need to see this. On-screen comments flood the gym's latest video. Watching Sarah train gave me courage to tell my parents about my bully. Started boxing because of you. Thank you. Hurricane Strong helped me find my voice. See? Carmen squeezes her shoulder. Perfect technique doesn't inspire people. Courage does. Heart does. Sarah faces the heavy bag again, her father's words echoing. Learning to stand tall in a world that wants you to stay small. She throws her combination. Technical but imperfect. Powerful but human. Real. Raw. Ready. 6 weeks to the showcase. But the real victory? It's already happening. One imperfect punch at a time. The month before the showcase transforms Hurricane Gym into a revolution headquarters. Sarah's training intensifies, but now she's not alone. Dozens of students fill the space, inspired by the number sign Hurricane Strong campaign. Sarah works the speed bag, her rhythm hypnotic. In the mirror, she barely recognizes herself. Not just physically, though months of training have replaced softness with strength, but in the way she carries herself. Looking good, champ, calls Alex Rivera, 16, shy, former victim of Victoria's crew. She joined the gym after seeing Sarah's story online. Now she helps younger kids learn the basics. Carmen adjusts Sarah's technique slightly. Remember, the showcase is in 3 weeks. Victoria's going to try to get in your head. Right on cue, Sarah's phone buzzes. A new post from Madison shows Victoria training with a professional coach, her caption taunting. Some people are born champions. Others just play pretend. Showcase ready. But this time, Sarah just smiles. Let her watch. The gym has become more than a training space. Jesse runs social media workshops, teaching kids how to document and share their stories safely. Olivia leads art therapy sessions, the walls now covered with powerful images of transformation. Head up, Carmen commands as Sarah works combinations. Show me that 3-piece we practiced. Sarah delivers, jab, cross, hook, each punch flowing into the next. Power meets precision. The heavy bag swings with satisfying force. Now that, Mr. Santos says from the doorway, is what progress looks like. He's not just talking about boxing. The legal case against Victoria's crew has grown. More students coming forward, more evidence mounting. The showcase is just one part of a larger change. Diana arrives for her session, now teaching a parents fight back class. Watching her mother coach other parents through basic self-defense fills Sarah with pride. Remember when you could barely jump rope? Diana teases during their water break. Sarah laughs, demonstrating a complex footwork pattern. Remember when you couldn't tell a jab from a cross? Their relationship has evolved, strengthened by shared purpose. They train together, heal together, grow together. Later, Sarah spars with Carmen, testing her progress. The exchange is fluid, each combination building on lessons learned through months of sweat and determination. Good, Carmen approves after a particularly sharp sequence. But Victoria's going to fight dirty. She'll try to make you angry, break your focus. They drill scenarios, handling trash talk, maintaining composure, staying strategic under pressure. Every session adds another layer of preparation. Between rounds, Jesse shows Sarah their latest campaign metrics. The number sign Hurricane Strong hashtag has reached beyond their small town, connecting with bullying survivors nationwide. We're trending in 3 states, he reports proudly. Your story's giving people hope. Olivia adds another mural to the gym wall, Sarah's silhouette, surrounded by rising phoenixes. Each bird carries a word: courage, strength, community, change. The art therapy group picked the words, Olivia explains. You're their symbol now. They're proof that fighting back doesn't always mean fighting alone. During evening training, a new girl arrives, shaking with nerves. Lucy Chen, 14, Jesse's cousin, recently transferred schools after severe cyberbullying. I don't want to box, she admits, but I need to feel strong again. Sarah recognizes her own past fear in Lucy's eyes. Then let's start with the hardest part. She leads Lucy to the mirror. Learning to face yourself. They spend an hour on basic stance work, Sarah sharing what Carmen taught her about inner strength. By the end, Lucy's standing taller, her reflection showing a glimpse of future confidence. See? Sarah guides Lucy through a simple combination. Strong isn't about how hard you can hit, it's about how firmly you can stand. Carmen watches from her office, remembering Sarah's first day. The transformation isn't just physical, it's in how she leads, how she lifts others while rising herself. The day ends with a full gym gathering. Carmen addresses the growing community. 3 weeks to the showcase. But look around. The real showcase is happening right here. Every day. Every time one of you chooses to stand up, speak out, fight back with dignity instead of hate. She turns to Sarah. You came here looking to learn how to fight. Instead, you learned how to lead. Sarah surveys the faces around her. Alex teaching jabs to newcomers. Lucy finding her stance. Jesse and Olivia documenting stories of change. Her mother empowering other parents. This is her legacy, bigger than any showcase bout. Her phone buzzes again. Another taunt from Victoria's crew. Hope you're ready for humiliation. Cinderella's boxing fantasy ends at the showcase. Sarah types her response. Thank you. For what? Victoria replies almost instantly. For showing me what real strength isn't. See you in 3 weeks? She puts her phone away, turns to her growing community of fighters and survivors. Time for evening training. The showcase looms, but Sarah's already won something more valuable than any match. She's found her purpose, her people, her power. Now it's time to show Victoria what real transformation looks like. As weeks of intense training pass, Sarah's transformation becomes undeniable. Not just in the mirror, where baby fat gives way to lean muscle, but in the way she moves through the world, head high, shoulders back, every step grounded in growing confidence. The gym has become her second home, filled with the rhythm of jump ropes, the sharp pop of gloves on bags, and Carmen's steady instructions. Even Victoria's daily taunts feel different now, landing with less impact against Sarah's strengthening emotional armor. Your technique is improving, Carmen notes during their morning session. But remember, the strongest muscle in boxing isn't here. She taps Sarah's bicep. It's here. She points to her heart. Sarah's about to respond when the gym door opens. A small group of students enters hesitantly, led by Maria Gonzalez, 14, previously one of Victoria's favorite targets. We saw your video, Maria explains, voice trembling. About standing up to bullies. About finding your strength. Carmen exchanges a knowing look with Sarah. Show them, she says simply. Sarah guides the newcomers through basic stances, remembering her own first days. Boxing isn't about hurting others, she explains, demonstrating a jab. It's about discovering what you're capable of. During their practice, Sarah catches her reflection. She remembers the girl who used to flinch at her own shadow, who believed Victoria's cruel words about her father's death. That girl feels like a stranger now. After training, Jessie shows her the gym's growing social media presence. The number sign Hurricane Strong hashtag has taken on a life of its own, with students from other schools sharing their stories of standing up to bullies. "You're starting a movement," he says proudly. "Look at this." A video montage plays, kids learning to box, parents joining self-defense classes, former victims becoming mentors. Among them, Sarah spots Maya, the girl who left school, now teaching younger students how to wrap their hands. Olivia adds another dimension through her art therapy sessions. The gym walls bloom with murals of transformation, butterflies emerging from chrysalises, phoenixes rising from ashes, storms becoming rainbows. Each piece represents someone's journey, Olivia explains. Their hurricane moment. Even Diana has transformed. Sarah watches her mother lead a women's boxing class, her nurse's precision making her an excellent instructor. The grief that once shadowed her eyes has lifted, replaced by purpose. "Your father would be so proud," Diana tells Sarah during their cool-down stretches. "Not just of your boxing, but of who you're becoming." One afternoon, Victoria and her crew drive by the gym, filming on their phones and laughing. But instead of hiding, Sarah walks outside, looks directly into their cameras, and demonstrates a perfect combination on the heavy bag. "That's going in my story," Madison sneers. "Good," Sarah replies calmly. "Make sure you get my form right." Later, Carmen finds Sarah practicing alone, long after official training hours. "You're not just throwing punches anymore," Carmen observes. "You're writing your story. Their cameras can't hurt you now, because you're not ashamed of your journey." Sarah nods, remembering her father's words about standing tall. "I used to think strength meant being untouchable. Now I realize it means being unafraid to be seen." The transformation extends to school, where Sarah no longer takes alternate routes or hides during lunch. She sits with Jessie and Olivia in the cafeteria, making space for others who need a safe haven. Victoria still rules the social hierarchy, but her power feels different now, like a storm that's losing strength while a new force rises. During one training session, Mr. Santos brings news that makes Sarah's heart soar. 3 other schools have started their own anti-bullying boxing programs, inspired by Hurricane Gym. "You're not just changing yourself," he tells her. "You're changing the whole system." In the evening, Sarah leads a special class for newcomers. Among them is Lucy Chen, Jessie's young cousin, who recently transferred schools after severe bullying. "I'm not coordinated enough," Lucy protests during jump rope practice. Sarah smiles, remembering her own struggles. "Neither was I. Watch this." She demonstrates a complex footwork pattern, then shows videos of her early days, tripping, stumbling, getting back up. "The point isn't being perfect," Sarah explains. "It's being persistent." After class, Carmen calls Sarah to her office. On her desk lies an old photo, Carmen with Sarah's father after his first boxing lesson. "He came here wanting to learn self-defense," Carmen recalls, "but he discovered something bigger, the power of community, just like you have." Sarah touches the photo gently. "I'm not just fighting for myself anymore, am I?" "You never were," Carmen answers. "Every punch you throw, every kid you help, every bully you stand up to, it creates ripples. Change doesn't happen in big moments. It happens in small choices made day after day." As Sarah leaves the gym that night, she passes the wall of mirrors. The reflection shows someone stronger, braver, more alive than she ever imagined possible. Victoria's crew might be waiting at school tomorrow with new taunts, new threats, new attempts to break her spirit. But they don't understand. They helped create something they can't destroy. A warrior, a leader, a hurricane. 1 week before the showcase, Victoria's father drops a bomb. As chairman of the school board's athletic committee, he announces safety modifications to the exhibition match rules. No body shots allowed, limited combinations, mandatory headgear that restricts peripheral vision. "They're trying to neutralize your advantages," Carmen explains during morning training. "Turn it into a point-scoring game instead of real boxing." Sarah works the heavy bag, frustration evident in each strike. Can they do that? Technically, yes. Mr. Santos arrives with more concerning news. And that's not all. They're bringing in an outside referee, Jack Pierce. Victoria's uncle. Carmen's face darkens. Former pro boxer turned technical official, known for early stoppages and questionable calls. Sarah's phone buzzes with notifications. Madison's latest social media blast shows Victoria training at elite boxing club, her form perfect under expensive trainers. Some people train for likes. Others train for legacy. Victory for Victoria. The comments pour in, clearly orchestrated. Can't wait to see the wannabe get exposed. Real boxers versus social media frauds. Hurricane Gym. Joke factory. Jesse and Olivia work frantically to counter the narrative, but Victoria's reach is wider, her family's influence deeper. The local newspaper runs a story questioning the safety of youth boxing programs, specifically naming Hurricane Gym. Then comes the masterstroke. At morning assembly, Principal Harrison announces anonymous concerns about Hurricane Gym's influence on students. Therefore, he declares, all future gym-related activities must be approved by the school board safety committee, the same committee Victoria's father chairs. Sarah maintains her composure until reaching Carmen's office. Then the walls crack. Everything we built, her voice breaks. They're trying to destroy it all. Because they're scared, Carmen responds firmly. Look. She pulls up their own social media metrics. While Victoria's posts have more likes, Hurricane Gym's stories show deeper engagement. Comments from kids finding courage, parents reporting positive changes, other schools requesting program information. They can control the rules, Carmen says, but they can't control the impact you're having. But Victoria's crew isn't done. That afternoon, they release edited security footage from Sarah's early training days. Every stumble, every fall, every moment of weakness, carefully curated for maximum humiliation. The video goes viral within hours. This is their champion? Exposed. Hurricane Week. Can't wait for the showcase beatdown. Sarah tries to maintain focus during evening training, but her form suffers. A simple combination sends her off balance, frustration mounting. Stop, Carmen commands. They're in your head. Everyone's seen it, Sarah pants. Every mistake, every weakness. Good. Carmen's response surprises her. Let them see. You know what they don't understand? Champions aren't born perfect. They're built from failures, setbacks, moments of doubt. Each fall makes the rising stronger. Mr. Santos enters with Lucy Chen, who's crying. Other students have been mocking her, saying she's training at a loser gym. Sarah watches Lucy's pain, remembering her own darkest days. Something shifts inside her. Show me the comments, she tells Jesse. All of them. While Carmen works with Lucy, Sarah and her team craft their response. They create a split-screen video. Sarah's early struggles alongside current training footage. Then they add clips of every gym member's journey. Lucy finding her voice, Maya returning to school, parents and children training together. The caption reads, "Real strength isn't born perfect. It's built through heart, community, and courage." This is Hurricane Strong. Victoria's crew immediately attacks. Trying to spin weakness into strength? Pathetic. But something unexpected happens. Other students start sharing their own journey videos. Athletes posting their early failures, dancers showing first recitals, artists revealing initial sketches. The hashtag number sign, "Show Your Strength" trends locally. See? Carmen smiles. They threw their best punch. You absorbed it, adapted, made it your power. That's real boxing. Sarah nods, understanding deeper now. They're fighting the wrong battle, aren't they? This was never about who's the better boxer. It's about who's the stronger leader, Carmen confirms. Now about those new rules. They spend the night modifying Sarah's strategy. If they can't rely on power, they'll use precision. If they can't throw combinations, they'll make single shots count. Jack Pierce has patterns, Mr. Santos explains, studying footage. He favors the orthodox stance, creates blind spots. We can use that. Dawn approaches as they finish planning. Sarah's phone buzzes one last time. Victoria. Hope you're ready for humiliation. Cinderella's boxing fantasy ends tomorrow. Sarah looks around the gym. At Lucy asleep on the mats, finally peaceful. At Jessie and Olivia still working on social media responses. At her mother bringing coffee for everyone. At Carmen and Mr. Santos analyzing strategies. This is her real victory. Not tomorrow's match, but this moment. This community. This strength. She texts back. Thank you. Victoria replies instantly. For what? For showing everyone the difference between looking strong and being strong. See you tomorrow. As the sun rises over Hurricane Gym, 2 hashtags trend in Lincoln Heights. Your victory for Victoria, bought with money and manipulation. This is Hurricane Strong. Earned through sweat, tears, and unbreakable spirit. Tomorrow will show which hits harder. The school gymnasium buzzes with anticipation on showcase morning. Local news cameras line the walls, drawn by the viral story of Hurricane Gym versus Elite Boxing Club. Victoria's father has transformed a simple exhibition into a media event. Sarah wraps her hands in the locker room, Carmen checking each layer with practiced care. They can hear the crowd through the walls, students, parents, community members divided between Victory for Victoria and Hurricane Strong signs. Remember, Carmen adjusts Sarah's headgear. They're expecting a boxing match. Give them a revolution. In the opposite locker room, Victoria prepares with her expensive trainers. Her father works the media, painting Hurricane Gym as a dangerous influence while positioning his daughter as the face of proper athletic training. Jack Pierce inspects both fighters' gear, lingering over Sarah's hand wraps with obvious suspicion. These seem tight, he comments, but finds nothing to object to. The first bell rings. Sarah walks out to mixed reactions, cheers from her growing supporters, jeers from Victoria's loyalists. She spots her mother in the front row, surrounded by Hurricane Gym members. Lucy holds a sign. Strong comes in every size. Victoria enters like a champion, her entrance choreographed to showcase her perfect technique. Her crew leads coordinated chants. Victoria, Victoria. In the ring, Jack Pierce reviews the modified rules one final time. Clean fight, no body shots, limited combinations. I'll be watching closely. Victoria smirks behind her headgear. Still time to quit, Whale. Thanks, Sarah responds calmly, but I'm done running. The bell rings. Victoria attacks immediately, her technique flawless. Each punch precise, measured, exactly as she's trained. Sarah absorbs the first flurry, studying her opponent's rhythm. That's one. Jack calls out a warning when Sarah's return combination extends beyond the allowed count. From the corner, Carmen's voice cuts through the noise. Remember your breathing. Find your space. Sarah adjusts, using footwork to create angles. Victoria's perfect form becomes predictable. She fights like a textbook, each move telegraphed by countless practice rounds. The first round ends even. Victoria's supporters chant louder, trying to influence the judges. Jack Pierce watches Sarah's corner intently, looking for any rule violation. She's fighting angry, Carmen whispers during the break. Use it. Round 2 begins. Victoria launches another picture-perfect combination, but now Sarah sees the pattern. She slips the third punch, counters with a clean jab that snaps Victoria's head back. The crowd gasps. Victoria's perfect composure cracks slightly. She rushes in, abandoning form for fury. Sarah weathers the storm, remembering every early morning, every setback, every small victory that built her real strength. Victoria's frustration grows. She clinches, whispering, "You're nothing." A fat nobody playing fighter. Sarah breaks clean, remembering Lucy's tears, Maya's courage, every kid finding strength at Hurricane Gym. Thanks for reminding me why I'm here. The final round begins. Victoria charges out, abandoning technique for desperate aggression. But Sarah stays centered, using every lesson, not just boxing, but perseverance, community, inner power. Then Victoria makes her mistake. Frustrated by Sarah's composure, she throws a wild hook. Sarah doesn't just avoid it, she shows what real training means. Perfect form, perfect balance, perfect spirit. The counterpunch lands clean. Victoria stumbles, more shocked than hurt. The crowd roars as she touches her headgear, realizing what everyone now sees. Perfection isn't the same as strength. By split decision, the announcer pauses. The winner is Victoria Pierce. But something unexpected happens. As Victoria's father rushes to arrange victory photos, Sarah raises Victoria's hand herself. "Good fight," she says loud enough for everyone to hear. "You won the match. But look around." The gymnasium has transformed. Students from both sides are taking down their divisive signs. Lucy and Maya lead a hurricane-strong chant that drowns out Victoria's crew. Parents are signing up for gym memberships. Real change happening in real time. 1 month later, Hurricane Gym hosts its first anti-bullying summit. Sarah stands at the podium, addressing a packed house. "Victory isn't always about winning," she begins. "Sometimes it's about showing others how to stand up, speak out, and fight back with dignity." Victoria's crew has disbanded. Madison transferred schools after the legal case exposed their systematic bullying. Rachel joined Hurricane Gym's beginner class, finding her own path to real strength. And Victoria? She stands in the back of the summit watching, her perfect record intact, but something changed in her eyes since the showcase. Sometimes change comes from unexpected losses. Sarah's phone buzzes during the summit. Another gym in another town wants to start their own Hurricane Strong program. The revolution spreads. That evening, Sarah finds her father's letter in her gym bag. She doesn't need to read it anymore. His legacy lives in every kid finding their strength, every bully choosing change, every small victory against fear. Diana wraps her daughter in a hug. He would be so proud. Sarah looks around at her growing community. Jessie managing social media campaigns for anti-bullying initiatives, Olivia's art therapy program expanding to new schools, Carmen training the next generation of fighters for life, not just the ring. "He is," she answers. "We all are." Outside Hurricane Gym, the sun sets on a changed community. The old sign comes down, replaced by Olivia's design. A hurricane formed from interlinked hands with words that started as a hashtag and became a movement. Hurricane Strong, where every storm makes us stronger. Inside, Sarah teaches a beginner's class, showing them the same first stance Carmen taught her. Each student different, each carrying their own storms, each finding their way to stand tall. The revolution didn't end with a boxing match, it was just beginning. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.